One of the most important things for me is deep self-observation. If you think about it, for every emotion that you experience in your life, there is somehow, somewhere, a physical sensation. Think about it. For every emotion that you experience, there is a physical sensation in your body. If you're feeling angry, depressed, elated, even jealous, any emotion whatsoever, if you look at yourself at that moment, you will feel a corresponding physical sensation somewhere in your body. Generally, people don't distinguish themselves between the emotional self. That is to say, people will often say, I am angry, or I am depressed, making no distinction between themselves and their anger or their depression. They are saying, I am. They are identifying themselves with their emotional self, quite simply. So, in that case, there is no separation between a person's emotions and themselves. People will say, I am depressed. But quite simply, if you can learn to watch the physical sensations that accompany your depression, then you can say, there is me and there is my depression. Or there is me and there is my anger. And a separation, a dichotomy has taken place. And quite simply by practicing this, okay, this gives a lead in to much more profound practices, and is, well, I have found this to be the answer to all the problems in my life, quite simply. And I've had a few. So I'll run that past you again. For every emotion that you experience in your life, you have a physical sensation. And if you're angry, you will say, I am angry. Or, I am depressed. So by looking at your anger or your depression or your sorrow, then a separation, a dichotomy takes place. And if you can use this as a practice, an ongoing practice, then after a very short time, your negative emotions will quite simply disappear, and you will be brought to the present moment. Most people's problems, again, are caused through projecting into the future or being attached to the past, or both. And by looking at yourself totally, you're finding yourself in the present moment where your anger, your sorrow, your depression cannot exist. It is a practice. It needs to be practiced. It's no good just knowing about it as a mental concept, but if you actually practice deeply looking into your soul, deeply looking into yourself, then by watching the physical manifestation of your depression, your sorrow, your anger, whatever it is, by watching it, by watching the sensations in your body, you will end up separating yourself from your fear, from your sorrow, from your anger, from your depression. But it has to be an ongoing practice, something that you do every day. And following on from this, by watching your own body moving, by watching your breathing. So for instance, in Zen meditation, quite simply you're bringing yourself to the present moment by breathing in and breathing out, and following your breathing from moment to moment. Not in the future, not in the past, but in the present moment, from moment to moment. The only reality is now this moment. And by placing yourself in that moment, then you have the possibility of expressing your true self, your true nature, which is universal consciousness.